My idea is the Young Person's Covenant. My name's Singh-Sohal and I'm the Police and Crime Commissioner candidate in the West Midlands. How can we create positive attitudes amongst young people to ensure they stay away from gangs and crime? Young people are easy prey for criminal gangs, with children as young as 11 being recruited by drug runners here in the West Midlands, where Birmingham is a centre for county lines. Addressing this requires innovation to create resilience within young people. For this purpose, I propose a new covenant for young people, a pledge they themselves will write and make, which I will introduce if elected the West Midlands PCC. It will be for secondary school pupils aged 11 to 14. They will be given the opportunity to put into their own words how they intend to stay away from trouble. It will motivate pupils to model themselves on what positive behaviour means for them and how they can practically undertake it. They'll be given options on positive things they can do for their pledge, such as joining the police cadets, as well as activity to resist and avoid, such as carrying a sharp blade. It will be their choice what they put down, but the mandatory requirements will be that they pledge to respect the police and avoid gangs. There will be an annual report card asking those who pledged how they undertook their commitment, and at the age of 14, those who do so will be presented with a PCC certificate for leadership, which can be framed as well as cited within their CVs. The desired outcome, a positive, proactive attitude amongst young people, which will affect their behaviour, specifically to stay away from gangs and crime.
That sounds like a really positive idea, actually. One of the things with engaging with young people is trying to get to hard to reach groups. And of course, you've got almost a captive audience if you do it in partnership with schools. But how will you make sure you try and effectively target those who are most at risk?
Absolutely right. And the key priority for me will be children in vulnerable areas of the West Midlands, so inner city areas in particular. And I have this experience, having grown up in Handsworth in inner city Birmingham, of knowing just where the hotspot issues and problems are. The reason why I'm aiming this also at the age of 11 and 14 is because that's at key stage 3 level, where secondary school pupils are being taught about citizenship within their classes. So I intend to take a targeted, honed approach to that level, particularly within the inner city areas, to ensure that this new initiative is able to reach those who can benefit the most, but also those who are most vulnerable from gangs themselves as well. Here in the West Midlands, we know that children as young as 11 have been known to be recruited into county lines, and we know that there are around about nearly 800 vulnerable children who've been identified as having gang links. And therefore, knowing where those areas are and just where those young children and vulnerable children are will go a long way to ensure that we're targeting this new scheme to those who can benefit from it the most.
And obviously you mentioned an important part of the policy would be around a commitment to respect the police. Do you feel that young people now have an issue with their relationship with the police, either because of experience in the past? What would motivate you to put in a clause around respecting the police?
I think there has been certainly a breakdown between young people and the way they view those in authority, not just the police generally, but those in authority. And there might be a multitude of factors for why that is. My key concern is to ensure that young people today have that respect for the police, and that respect for the police is iterated at every single level, because of course, you know, our police officers do a fantastic job keeping us all safe. They're there to protect us, and they can only do their jobs if they have our support, but also are respected by those they are trying to police. And certainly amongst young people, it's really important to get this across. And I draw upon my own experience growing up in Handsworth, as I mentioned, where, you know, because of my cultural background and my family setting, which was a very strong family setting, that respect for those in authority and positions of power and law and order was very much drilled into me. And I think, you know, we can't get away from that. We have to be absolutely set on the fact that this is a value that we need our young people to be raised with.
And you mentioned in there that making a commitment to doing something like maybe joining the police cadets. Obviously, schemes like that are incredibly successful and often oversubscribed. Would that mean you'd be looking to expand your local police cadets programme?
Police cadets is a really important part of the recruitment and the retention side for what I want to implement in the West Midlands. And it, for me, begins with police cadets with a view of giving young people a bit of insight into how policing works, but also hopefully developing young people, young leaders into the officers of the future. So yes, I will be looking to expand upon the police cadets. And I say this as someone who benefited as an RAF cadet when I was a young teenager, although I didn't join the RAF in the end, I joined the Army. So I know all too well just the wonderful work and the positive outcomes that can come from these sorts of organisations. And hopefully it will mean that we have a lot more support amongst young people for the police cadets. But I would be equally happy if we were encouraging more young people to get involved with organisations like RAF or Army cadets as well.
And do you think, finally, that there would need to be an incentive for schools to be involved in a project like this, given everything that they're currently doing to try and support young people, even when we come out of the pandemic? Do you think that there's going to need to be some incentive for the schools to take part in this? Or do you think that there's already enough support for policing and initiatives like this for them to be behind you?
Yes, I absolutely intend to be working with secondary schools on this initiative. Just here in the West Midlands, there are around 153,000 school children between the age of 11 to 14. So that's quite a significant number. So secondary schools will be a key partner within this programme, which I'm looking to fund through the proceeds of crime, through the Community Initiatives Fund, because I think that's best placed to do so. And the incentive for schools will be being recognised as a part of this leadership programme, ensuring that they're able to do something for their young peoples in terms of development, but also keeping them out of trouble as well. One of the key concerns I have is about school exclusions and young children feeling isolated or vulnerable or neglected within the schooling system. And I would like to hope that by engaging with them at a senior level of leadership within our region, we can ensure that they're not only keeping out of trouble, but more engaged with the education system. As I mentioned earlier, citizenship classes at Key Stage 3 level are really important. And I want to ensure that our young people have a bright future ahead of them. And this has to come by themselves taking ownership and being respected for their decisions when it comes to modelling what positive behaviour looks like.
That sounds great. And thank you very much for joining us on Bright Ideas. Remember, everybody watching this, if you think Jay's got the best idea or you just like his idea, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel and click on the bell notifications to get all the latest videos and ideas as they come through. Jay, very best of luck with your campaign to be the next PCC for the West Midlands. And I look forward to working with you when you are elected in May. Good luck.
Thank you, Matthew.